everyone, and welcome to an exciting new episode of Good Night with Scooter Pie. I am Scooter Pie, and I want to introduce the guest that I had the pleasure of interviewing recently. She is Reina Terror. She is an actor. She's appeared on television and in films such as Zoolander 1. And also, she has been doing burlesque for a very, very, very long time. She tells us all about her start in the fine decade of the 1990s when she appeared, starting as when she was a teenager at the infamous and notorious Blue Angel Cabaret in New York City. So she tells us all about that. And she's been performing ever since, and she also does some fantastic fire performing stuff. And she's just all around super talented and interesting, a true born and bred New Yorker. You can hear it in the voice. So please enjoy my interview with her, and she talks about all kinds of different artistic experiences she's had. Also, I had the pleasure, yes, I'm talking about more pleasure, and if you don't like the word, too bad, because I feel neutral about it. I got to appear with Reina Terror in a fantastic film in 2013 known as Satan, Hold My Hand. So I put a clip from that film that we both appeared in before the interview, and do stick around till the end of the interview. I mean, of course you would anyway, if you are interested in seeing some fine cat tricks. Because Reina Terror is not only supremely talented in many different areas, she also is a very talented cat. So do enjoy my interview with Reina Terror. Woo! Am I gone yet?
One less lonely girl. One less lonely. One less lonely girl.
Onlangs werd het bevriendje op een vrouwtje die het liefst zelfstandig door het leven gaat.
One less lonely.
En hij zei,
one less lonely girl.
had een paardje,
One less lonely.
eentje la 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 la
One
la
less lonely girl.
Right, don't tell me you've got Bieber fever again.
Scooter, is that you?
No, it's Selena Gomez, and I'm gonna kick your ass.
Oh, I'm going to hell.
Nope, you're coming with me. Ditch school, we're gonna leave Kinetic Cunt. We're going into the city. Rubella infection are playing tonight, and I'm not gonna miss it, and neither are you.
I don't know, Scooter. Daddy would kill me. He's up for re-election this year, and I can't fuck up.
Would you stop worrying about the senator for 1 second? Patty Davis was a pill-popping junkie, and nobody gave a shit when they voted for Reagan.
What about the Latin test tomorrow?
Fail it?
I can't.
Oh, because you're so gonna need to converse in Latin someday. Come on. God loves sinners.
How's your quarantine going?
Oh, it's not bad. I can't really complain too much. I mean, I've definitely had some disappointments, like artistically and professionally. I was currently co-starring in a rock opera called Bloody Brains in a Jukebox, written
Man.
Dick Ziggin and Nikos out at Coney Island, and it was like the day before our opening night weekend. We had rehearsal out there, and the next day everything got shut down. So,
What creative projects have you been able to work on at home?
well, I mean, it's just kind of been a mix of things. I did a couple of go-go sets, like virtual go-go sets. I'm still very much on a learning curve as far as like virtually performing and stuff, because I know, like many performers, we prefer like a real live audience. But as things are, for 420, I did like a go-go set online, so that was fun. Like learning how Facebook and IG Live are, and whether you get kicked off or not according to your music, and like
Did that happen for you? Did you get kicked off?
Only like once or twice, but the thing was, when I got kicked off, I was able to jump back on. So it wasn't really that big of a deal. It was just like, oops, I'll be back. I don't know whether other people have more, like, the more times that you break that rule, maybe they crack down on you more. But for me, for that one go-go set, it wasn't a big deal. I just changed the songs. But so that was fairly lucrative. I also started an OnlyFans. So yes, so I can put some more like adult kind of content on there, which is nice because sometimes there's like photos and stuff I take that are, you know, burlesque related or risque, and there's nipples showing or whatever. So on there, I kind of like it because you can kind of make it whatever you want. You don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with, and you can show your nipples if you are comfortable with it. So I've been learning about that too and how that works, and you know, that made me some grocery money before unemployment and all that started finally kicking in. So
you have done a lot of different types of performing over the years. You've done like burlesque stuff, but also you kind of did burlesque before like the neo burlesque scene really broke through again.
As like I kind of started like in high school basically. Now when I performed burlesque when I was in high school and I was under 18, I didn't like show my nipples or anything like that. But yeah, I really like, you know, learned the ropes at like Blue Angel with like Bonnie Dunn and Juliette Muse and Velocity and all these people there that kind of took me under their wings and taught me a lot about performing and being a performing artist in New York City in general. So it was at a place called the House of Candles down on the Lower East Side. I want to say like Stanton, but I don't quote me on that. I can't remember. But that area. And basically, you walked in, and there was a bar. You could have drinks. There were no cameras, no photos, no video allowed. And there was like tables and chairs set up, kind of like dinner theater. And then there was like a stage in the back. And it was very intimate and very risque. So it was very underground. Like you had to know about it to find out about it, kind of thing. You know, like you had to hear about it from somebody else, word of mouth. And so it was super underground, which was pretty cool because, you know, people could break a lot of boundaries and experiment a lot. And back in that day, like right when I first started, I think I didn't do this because I was too young, but they would even have like the performers would perform full nudity, whatever. And then you could get lap dances from the performers as well. They would pay you and you do nude lap dances, like in the theater, like in your seat. And we had celebrities drop by and stuff. Drew Barrymore talked about Blue Angel, I think on Letterman. And who else? Oh, Demi Moore came. I think both of them ended up getting topless and on stage, which was cool. I was very independent at a young age. So I moved out when I was about like 15 and I got a place with a roommate in Brooklyn. And one of my first jobs was at a tattoo shop down on West Broadway. And the tattoo shop was massive. And when I first started, I did body painting and then piercing and then eventually tattooing. But with the body painting guy that ran it, this dude, Matty, he was very into the BDSM scene. And therefore they'd have all these parties in the back on the weekends for everything, just like play parties to learning how to spank, nude body painting, fire play, all sorts of stuff to teach people. So that was my first exposure to BDSM and kind of the more subversive scene in New York City in general. And from there, how the hell did I even find Blue Angel the first time? I'm trying to remember. Because from there, that scene is how I eventually found Blue Angel and started performing. Like I worked at the Black and Blue party when I was like 15 at Roseland, like surrounded by dudes giving each other like golden showers and everything. I'm sitting there selling like fake tattoos that none of them want.
That's so sweet. Were you around during the era of the Hellfire Club, like the actual club?
Yes, I didn't go. I never went though. By the time I was, I think, able to go, I think it had already kind of like shut down. But yes, I heard about it.
So you mentioned that you eventually became a tattoo artist. That's something you did at a young age too?
Yeah, so that was my first job. So yeah, eventually I was tattooing and I worked at a couple of shops. And I worked in Manhattan and in Queens for like Fun City and Studio Enigma, which were some fairly big, well-known shops in the city at the time. And then, because for a while I got sick of acting and performing and stuff, so I was like, I'm just going to be an artist and like, not be attention sinking and just like be quiet and draw all the time, tattoo people, which was fun for a while. But eventually, you know, I had to get back to performing again. And also, tattooing just got really, really popular and the whole scene kind of changed. So, you know, time for me to bounce.
So you were tattooing before everyone was getting tattoos, when it was still kind of a dangerous and edgy thing. Wow. Yeah. And I know that you are also well known for doing fire performances. How did you get into doing that?
So my first roommate, who I met at the tattoo shop, he performed, and he was known as the Reverend Be Dangerous. So he did a sideshow, a one-man sideshow, and we were roommates. And at one point, I remember I came home and I'd gone to an audition or something, and I was frustrated by just the process and the industry. And he was like, well, fuck acting. Like, you're born on Halloween. You like weird shit. Why don't you do what I do? And, like, at the time, I thought that'd be, like, copying off him or something. But he offered, and so I accepted that offer. And that afternoon, he taught me how to eat fire on the couch, I think, while Jerry Springer or something was playing in the background, which was pretty surreal. But, so, yeah, from then on, I started with fire, and then he taught me how to do glass walking and invented nails, and I did human dartboard, mental flossing, human blockhead, but he lit the fuse that started the whole thing for sure.
Did you ever perform at the sideshow at Coney Island?
Yes, definitely, yeah. I haven't done the summer sideshow, like the every weekend, but I've done burlesque at the beach. I don't even remember what years specifically, but here and there I've done burlesque at the beach and like other shows at Coney Island. I just performed with Twisted Circus, which is now called another thing that I can't remember. But yeah, I performed with them recently. So I didn't do what is it called? The summer season, but I haven't.
So you mentioned acting. Did you start out thinking you wanted a career as like a traditional like actress, like auditioning for like straight ahead like films and stuff like that? That's what you started out doing?
Yeah, so I grew up surrounded by my dad was an actor, and I grew up in a building called Manhattan Plaza, which thankfully I live in again now, and it's a building for performing artists and actors and stuff. So my dad was an actor since I was a little kid. I was acting and doing all sorts of stuff and auditioning for film and TV. I did a lot of theater when I was younger. Then, like, as I got older, I got more interested in film and television. And then a couple months ago, I got back into it again. I was bartending for a while and I quit that. And now I'm just performing and doing acting full time.
Wow. How does it feel to get back into it after a break?
It was weird. A lot of things have changed. It's very different. But it also... So something really weird happened. My dad passed away a few years ago, and he was in his upper 80s. He was 87. And he was always very supportive. But little did I know when I was a kid and acting, apparently before he died, he told me that he used to sabotage my auditions as a kid. So I got really close to a couple of roles, like one on Broadway, another film thing. But at the last minute, I'd get a phone call, and it would get canceled for whatever excuse that they'd give me. Come to find out, my dad had been calling producers and stuff and telling them that if they didn't hire me, he wouldn't work with them. So I found that out. I was super pissed at him. But now that I'm able to try it again, I mean, right now there's a pandemic. So barring that before, it was kind of liberating, though, to be able to start auditioning and doing it again, knowing that no one's sabotaging me or, like, fucking with.
Why was your dad sabotaging them? Because he didn't want you to have like the challenging life of an actor, or were there other reasons?
He said he did it because he didn't want my mom to spend all the money I would make, and to get she would just spend it all and be irresponsible with it. So he blamed it on my mom. Now they had a nasty divorce, so I think that's what he thinks or what he said. But honestly, I mean, he was a human. He was fallible. I think part of it was jealousy. He started when he was like in his mid 30s. He didn't start till he was 35. So I think in one sense, like being able to start from childhood and have all that training and stuff, might have pissed him off a little or made him a little jealous. I think it was a couple of things.
So you got involved with the Art Star scene, which is in the Lower East Side, the kind of band of artistic misfits, kind of unofficially ruled by Reverend Jen, who I've had on the show recently, and with some other really interesting individuals, and it has created things like these films and the Reverend Jen's anti-slam and like Face Boys stuff. So how did you get mixed up with those crazy kids?
So I'm trying to remember the first time I went to Surf Reality. I think Velocity might have brought me there, and I was introduced to it. I met Face Boy, I met Rev Jen, I met all these performers, and it was Rev Jen's Anti-Slam and Face Boy's open mic at Surf. Sorry, what was the question? How did I meet them?
Oh, just how did you meet those guys and start? Like, when was that?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly how I found the place. I think possibly Velocity introduced me to it. Somebody introduced me to it. And I found it, and from then on, I was there like every damn week. I mean, it was so awesome to find a place where you could perform. It was like, it was free. And you could like bring beer or like smoke a joint in the theater if you wanted, but you had to smoke cigarettes outside, like all these crazy rules.
So when you are putting together acts or different types of your performance that you do, like what inspires you the most?
More often than not, the first thing that I'm like, ooh, this song, like, and then it kind of like starts something off. So that's often how I come up with things. Another thing too is if I'm going through something personally, I use the stage a lot as therapy. So if I'm going through something in my personal life, I might pick a song according to that, or a mood or whatever, and just kind of like the audience won't even know necessarily, and just kind of like channel it and get it out on stage. But yeah, in films and stuff too, like, it could be any of those things. But I think usually more often it's the music that gets the mind starting to go.
So before we wrap up, I'm just going to ask you a few questions. This is very fitting because you're an actor, and I'm going to ask you some of the James Lipton Inside the Actors Studio questions.
Yeah.
Do you have a least favorite word?
I guess no.
She doesn't like the word no. Do you have a favorite curse word? This is an easy one. Fuck, yes. Everyone except for one person so far that I've asked has said fuck. If you didn't have the career that you have as a performer, what job would you want?
Well, I got my degree in neuropsychology, so I would probably have followed through on that. And on that, or I wanted to be a sex therapist as well, with a focus on neuroscience.
Wow, so you have a degree in neuroscience. Do you ever, did you do anything with it before you went the way of the arts?
Nope. I went to school and basically the degree taught me that I didn't want to be in the medical or science field. It just didn't fit, and I would have been miserable. Mm-hmm. But I learned a lot, and I got the piece of paper, so.
And can you apply the things you learned to, like, basic daily life and stuff? Like, in any way?
Definitely. I definitely think the psychology part of it especially, I think it made me a much better actor and a much better, like, human in general, because I'm much more thoughtful about not just how people are reacting, but why they're reacting and where that might be coming from than I was before that, So, yeah, I definitely think it's been beneficial.
Oh, I wish that I knew that little factoid before we started the interview, because then I would have led with that. Well, I'm learning about you. So, okay, what is one job that you would not want?
Like working in a factory on a line, like the most monotonous thing I can think of, where it's just one thing over and over. Like if it's repetitive and I'm not learning anything, I can't stand it.
And okay, so let's say it's far in the future and you die and heaven is real in this scenario, and there's some kind of like God, and God says, what would you want the first thing that God said to you when you got to heaven?
Good job.
Oh, that's Lovely. So I guess like I'm gonna ask you this like 2 ways for final question. So from your neuroscience education point of view, do you have any suggestions or like tips or just pieces of advice for the audience as we continue to go through coronavirus era?
Yes. I think meditation is super helpful right now if you're the type of person that can meditate. It's not for everybody. That, and I think anything you can find that's comforting and that helps you get out of your head is good right now. Because I think the biggest thing without work and other distractions is people just getting too much in their heads and getting anxious with what's going on. So I think minimal news, get out of your head and try to, and meditate and just keep calm and don't focus on things that you can't control. If you can't control it, let it go.
And from your artist point of view, for us frustrated creatives out there, same question.
I think it's a great time to like delve into your craft. Like it's a really good time to work on things you didn't have time to before, like any specific accents, maybe any kind of skills that require like a lot of practice and repetition. Even getting more used to being on camera. Like I was awkward with self-taping before, so now I'm just trying to do it all the time. And seeing myself on screen right now even gets me more accustomed to it. So yeah, just doing that. But then again, it's okay too if you're just completely unmotivated to do any of that shit and not be productive. I think that's all right too, as long as you're gentle with yourself.
Have you been practicing accents?
I have not yet, but I think I'm going to now. I have a book I haven't read in a couple of years that's very helpful. It spells them all out phonetically. So if you're not good at hearing it, you can also read it.
Does it even do Australian? Because that seems to be the most difficult, in my opinion.
It totally does. It's got everything. It's amazing.
But I've got to say, you have that like gorgeous native New York accent that must really like work to your favor if you're going out for roles that are looking for it. Like it's fantastic. So Reina Terror, where can we find you online?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Reina Terror, ReinaTerror. And my OnlyFans is /Reina Terror as well. Twitter, whatever. It's Reina Terror, all the places.
And one final thing before we go, I've seen from your social media that you have a very talented and gorgeous cat who you have taught tricks to. So is your cat nearby by any chance?
Ooh, let me go grab him.
Yes!
Piglet, come here. Come here. Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
Hi.
Gorgeous.
Hi, Pickles. I want to say hi.
I love that your cat's name is Piglet.
Yes. I like naming animals after the wrong animal. I don't know why.
So thank you so much. And everybody go on Reina Terror's OnlyFans and send her tons of money. And I'm going to turn off the recording now.
Are you anxious for treats? Yeah? You excited? Who wants treats? Who wants treats? Sit. Give me your paw. Good paw. Good boy. Come on, let's go up. Oh, I got it. It's right there. Oh, you're so cute. Okay. Come here. Piglet. Piglet. Someone hasn't had treats in a while, huh?